Newcastle United supporters seem to embrace this fixture, given that 2,780 made the trip down to Wear-Tyne, although that figure was kept artificially low by the restriction of tickets made available to the Magpies, but Sunderland fans, somewhat understandably, were less enamored. After all, having to send your first team out against Newcastle's under-21s is hardly something anyone associated with the Black Cats would have envisaged just a few short New years ago. Unfortunately, that shows the true extent of Sunderland's demise, which hopefully is being rectified to an extent this term. Little more than 14,000 home fans were here, though admittedly that is more than double the number seen at previous Checkatrade Trophy matches, so clearly there were at least some who had their interest piqued by this game, and they will delight in this 4-0 win, even if it was against Newcastle's under-21s. Some have argued that this was the first Tyne Wear-Tyne, as this match is considered, derby since March 2016, when Newcastle rescued a 1-1 draw against Sunderland at St James's Park in Rafa Benitez's second game in charge. That ended the so-called six-in-a-row run, as those on the red and white divide like to refer to it as, which saw United lose half a dozen times in succession to their rivals. But the debate over whether this Checkatrade Trophy last 16 match actually counts as a proper derby has raged ever since the enticing fixture was made following the draw in December. For Sunderland, this was a first-team match, but the Black Cats were not facing Benitez's senior Newcastle squad, rather, they were taking on Ben Dawson's development, or under-21, side. There have been 156 previous competitive meetings between the first teams of the Black Cats and the Magpies, with 142 of them having taken place in league fixtures, though that does not include playoff games. As far as statisticians are concerned, this fixture will not count towards those previous figures given that Jack Ross men were taking on Newcastle's reserves. But, in supporters' eyes, this very much felt like a derby. Well, almost anyway. Last Friday's mini-derby between Sunderland's under-23 side and Newcastle's under-23s at the Academy of Lite, which ended with a comeback 3-2 victory for the young Magpies, was very much a precursor for this game. There is always an intense rivalry between these Tyne Wear rivals, no matter what level the game has contested at, and the discord is so strong that supporters of the respective clubs even find themselves arguing about such trivial matters as to which way round the two rivers should be named when referring to this match. Ahead of the game, Dawson insisted his Newcastle youngsters could not lose, while conversely Sunderland owner Stuart Donald admitted there was little way the Black Cats could win from this fixture. Before kick-off, Newcastle fans started chanting, and then Sunderland supporters responded with songs of their own, but while the atmosphere was pretty electric considering the stadium was only a third full, there was a rather uneasy feel about this occasion. Boos from home fans drowned out the announcer before the game confirming the Newcastle 11, while they cheered every Black Cat when their names were read out, and the noise from both sets of supporters continued throughout the match. There were the inevitable six-in-a-row chants from the home fans, and the songs mocking Sunderland's two relegations from Newcastle supporters, while two loud bangs, presumably from flares, could be heard from the away end. Even two early second-half goals for the home side could not dampen the enthusiastic singing of either set of fans, however. Sunderland supporters became far more vocal once their team was in front, with Newcastle fans then responding with a rendition of "We'll Meet Again," as they continued to enjoy their evening out following their youngsters. As for the action out on the pitch, well, that was interesting in itself, with United's reserves performing so well for 45 minutes, before Sunderland's experience eventually told, and the eventual scoreline was harsh on the visitors, but it was nowhere near as captivating as the environment in which it was played. In short, this match had all the component parts of a derby, except a Newcastle first team, that is, and it was therefore best described as a derby light. History will not remember this match as a derby in the fullest sense as far as the statistics are concerned, but the fans present, and those who followed the game on social media, via a Steam, radio or our live blog, certainly felt the competitiveness of this fixture. What this game showed, even if there was only 14,000 or so Sunderland fans inside the stadium of Lite, it is the yearning from Newcastle fans for this derby to become a biannual event once more. In this correspondent's opinion, there would be a similar fervor on Wear's side, but for the fact this was a check-a-trade game, and the Black Cats therefore had little to gain from this match. As fascinating and unprecedented as this game was, this correspondent could not help feel more than a tinge of unease, disappointment and even regret that this is now what local derbies have become after more than a decade of decay at both the Stadium of Light and St James's Park. There is so little else for either set of supporters to cheer right now that this game took on an importance that it simply never should have done. Northeast football needs this to be a proper first-team Premier League fixture once again, just as it would benefit from Middlesbrough returning to the top flight too. There is a healthy friction between Sunderland and Newcastle fans, and it is something which is best tempered by regular meetings between the teams. Supporters may revel in their rivals' struggles. Some Newcastle fans have certainly enjoyed Sunderland's demise to League One, but local bragging rights are best earned in first-team derbies. The game was unique, bizarre, fascinating and unfortunate, all at the same time. But this derby light was merely an appetizer. We need the full-fat version back as soon as possible.